Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be checking out the Runcam Micro Swift 2. Now this is another micro CCD camera from Runcam and it's the same form factor as the Micro Swift 1. However, it wasn't called the Micro Swift 1, it's just called the Micro Swift. So the only difference being with this camera is that it's got a built-in on-screen display, whereas the first version doesn't. Now, there's less of a demand for this these days because a lot of the flight controllers now are coming with a on-screen display chip built into them. But if you have an old model that doesn't have an on-screen display and is using a CMOS camera like some of the micros out there, then this is a good upgrade. It's a little bit more expensive than the first version, but that's because we have the extra technology of the on-screen display. Other than that, everything else is pretty similar. So this is the PAL version that they have sent, and it accepts 5 to 36 volts. This is the IR blocked version with a 2.1mm lens. So let's take a look at what we have in the box. Got a little instruction manual here. I think it's just explaining how to use the on-screen display. This is the camera itself, and it weighs 5.7 grams, so very similar to the first version. And then if we look on the back here, we have one giant connector rather than the split connectors of the first version, and you can see that we have got the voltage input there, and then we've got the ground and then video, and then after that we've got the V sensor. So that is for connecting up to your V-bat of your quadcopter, and it will take the voltage from there. But if that isn't connected, it will take the voltage from the actual voltage in here as well. So you don't have to connect the V sensor, but I guess if you're running this off a regulator, it's great that you can run a separate sensor off there. And then we've got the ground and the on-screen display pin at the end there. So let's take a look at some of the other stuff that you get in here. So this is the controller, which is nice. I don't think you got a controller with the first version, so that's just going to plug into the end there, I think. Yeah. And then we've also got a mount as well, which is really nice. We've got a mount, some screws, and then we've got the wire harness so that we can connect everything up. So let's take a look at that. So it looks like it's just one connector in there. I think it is the 1.25 pitch. And how many pins is it? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's just going to plug into there like so. It's a little bit of a tight fit. There we go. So we actually have got a 3-pin connector on the end there. So your normal sort of connector for these types of cameras. And then we've got these other ones here, and that is so that you can externally connect the controller in here, which is nice. It means you don't have to mess around with the little connectors and stuff. You can get at it quite easily. And then we've got this one loose here for the V sensor if you want to use it. So yeah, great stuff in the package. I'm really glad that they have provided a mount, because that was a problem with the first one. So the next thing to do is get it on a copter and take a look at some of the settings. Okay, so this is the platform that I'm going to be using. Again, I'm using the TX200 from Full Speed, and I've just piggybacked that onto this camera, making it an all-in-one. This is the Lady X again, and then I have got the controller going into the back, and that is because this uses a 3-pin connector here. So I've got the VTX and camera plugged directly into the battery, and that should send the voltage through to the camera. Because there is a 3-pin connector here, I can't actually get to the V sensor without switching out the connector. Can you see there's actually a pin in the middle there, but both of these are covering those up, but that's fine. So yeah, I've got this connected. Let's take a look at the options on the screen. Okay, so here we are looking through the goggles, and I've already changed a couple of settings. So you can see that it says NDRC in the middle for the pilot. That said Runcam originally, and then we've got the timer down there on the bottom right, and we also have the voltage, which is reading correctly. This is a 2S battery, but I'm probably going to be flying on a 3S. So if I take the controller and press it in the middle, then we have our usual CCD settings such as exposure, the backlight, white balance, etc. This is all stuff that I don't usually touch, but you can mess around with if you like. And then if I press exit here, there we go. Now you can see it says PAL and personal at the top there. PAL is obviously the video format, and personal, that's not like another personal thing that you can change. That is the picture setting. So if I now long press up on the controller just for a couple of seconds, then you can see here we can change the pilot name if you want, and we've also got a voltage alarm as well. And you see where it says scene there, it says personal, and that's telling you what setting it's on. If I move that, you can see that it changes the different settings there. I've got all sorts: cloudy, twilight, indoor, outdoor, and then, you know, personal. So we just move down here. So system, that is if you want to turn off that it says PAL. It goes off after a couple of seconds anyway. And the pilot, you can see over here we've got position as well. If you press enter on there, you can change the position on the screen of stuff if you want, then enter again to get back. And then if you want the timer on, the voltage, and there's also a horizon option as well, which I've got turned off because I don't like, and that is pretty much it. So yeah, it looks like another good camera from Runcam. Now I'm getting a little bit more noise than I did on the VTX 200 video, and that's because I'm powering the VTX straight off the battery. So yeah, that's not bad, but I think what I'm gonna do is go back and power it all off the regulator like before, because there's no noise there, and use the V sensor pin. So swap out that connector for a 4-pin. Now, one thing that I'm having problems with is the DVR on my fat shots. Can you see at the bottom right corner, there's sort of like a rectangular block where it looks like there is like a issue with the camera. It's not an issue with the camera, it's an intermittent issue with the DVR on the Fat Sharks, because if I use the on-ways it's not there, and it seems to be on there no matter what camera I use. So take no notice of that. It looks like I'm going to be using this video and sending my Fat Sharks back yet again. That being said, the service from Fat Shark is very good, and I know people will be saying, well, they shouldn't break. The fact is, I use these every single day, and stuff like this breaks. So I think it's actually a good thing that Fat Shark have got repair centres dotted about, because if you buy some of the cheaper models, I imagine that you wouldn't get the same kind of service. But yeah, it's going to be an absolute pain sending the goggles back again. But there you go. So yeah, I think this camera is great. It's absolutely transformed this model, and I now can see the voltage. So I left the voltage warning as stock, and you can see there as it's gone into 10 volts actually showing as purple, sort of indicate that the battery is getting a little bit low. And then it starts to flash then. So yeah, you got 2 warnings, but I need to reduce that because with this particular model it's fine all the way down to about 10.1 volts for when I need to come in for a landing. But it was good to see that we've got those kind of features on there. Of course, the only thing that you don't have with an on-screen display like this against the on-screen display built into Betaflight or Multi-Wii on-screen display is that you can't see what mode you're in, and the timer goes off as soon as you plug the battery in, whereas in Betaflight, when you arm it, it recognizes that that's when you are starting to fly, so it's more of an on time rather than a flight time. So yeah, if you want to use that accurately, you need to pay attention to what the time was when you took off, but not too much of a problem. And yeah, I think it's a really good camera. I will link to it in the below, and I just love the choice that we've got now. It's just so much choice. And Runcam have actually come out with another camera that switches between 4x3 and 16x9, so I'm going to be checking that one out soon. And then they have the full-sized Sparrow, and yeah, it just seems like they are releasing a lot of stuff, and they are progressing really quickly as well. It doesn't seem that long ago that I was raving about the Runcam Micro. Now you've got an on-screen display on there. I saw a lot of people saying that Runcam needs to come out with their own all-in-one. I think that's a good shout, because we've got the likes of the Full-Speed TX200 release that have converted it into an all-in-one. But yeah, it'd be nice if Runcam had their own. Anyways, I'm going to come in for a landing, so I hope this video was useful for you, so that you could see what you can expect from the extra money of buying a Micro Swift 2. And as the battery voltage dies, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.